Alright, so made a little progress on the engine. As you can see, I don't know if you can see 2L inside of there, but I've got the camshaft all put in, lubed up real good, spins real nice. I went ahead and put the bottom half of the crank journals, or crank bearings, kind of put them in there. I just set the crankshaft on top for now, and I don't know if you can see it at all, but I got little teeny pieces of plastic gauge on there. Can't even see them, little teeny green things. But I'm going to go ahead and use plastic gauge and try and check the clearances on this. I went ahead and cleaned up all the main caps, so I'll go ahead and wash my hands off a little bit, but I'll go ahead, put the other half of the bearings into these guys, and then I'll just set them on top. No lube, no nothing, I just want to check the clearances. I'll crank them down, torque it to, I think spec is 70 or 90, somewhere around there. I'll check the book, but we'll go ahead and crank those down, check the clearances. If it's all good, then I'm going to put it in for real, get some more grease on there, and hopefully have the crankshaft done in an hour or so. Alright, so I already went ahead and did the main cap. It came out to 2000s, which is perfectly in spec, so I cleaned it all off. Just get that one done, and then I went ahead and torqued down all four of the other guys. So now I'm going to untorque them, take them off, we'll make sure the clearances are okay. Well, they all smudged a little bit, and I don't know how you can actually see that, but they did come in at about 2000s. So I think they're all good. I'm going to clean up all the surfaces, and then we'll start putting this crank in for... Alright, so we got things a little bit further here. I've got all of the main caps on. Hopefully I did all of this right. The rear seal was actually giving me a little confusion. The package basically came with instructions on it, and it said fat end towards the back of the engine. Excuse me, the instructions said skinny end towards the back of the engine, and the online video I'm watching from Caddy Daddy says fat end towards the back. Looking at the thing, the fat end made a little bit more sense, so I did it that way. Hopefully I didn't screw that up. I can always take this main cap off for a little bit yet. I'll probably ask my brother, see what he thinks, but I think we're good there. Got the freeze plugs in. I'm using some of that shellac stuff just to seal it up a little bit. Only screwed up one of them, had to pry it off, and holy God, that was a pain. So that shellac stuff really keeps it on there. But yeah, so I think now, what do I got next? Probably start doing some piston stuff. So I'll flip this guy around. I haven't done any of the pistons. I've got them all sitting over here, but I need to do, what the hell do I need to do? I need to do all the rings on them, which will probably take me a while. I got one of those little ring grinder things just in case something's not right, but hopefully they're all the right size. So I'm going to check each one, ring up the pistons, and then I'll probably get going on the pistons and doing all that stuff. So follow along. So I got a little ahead of myself and forgot about the timing. So I went ahead and put the timing on, and this wouldn't be amateur hour if I didn't screw it up 2-3 times. So I didn't even realize and open up the timing set I had that it came with new sprockets. So I had thrown the old camshaft sprocket back on that thing and pulled it all down, open up the pack, and sure shit, it's got both of them. So I had to redo that. So I took all those off, put the chains back on, and put the chain and the two sprockets back on, lined them up. They got little dots that you got to line up on both of the sprockets. Got the chain on there, oiled it up a little bit just because it said you should, lubricate or whatever. Then I went over the timing cover. So I've been hammering away at this thing for quite some time. It was really gunky and I hadn't even cleaned it yet. So I degreased it, kind of scotch-brighted it a little bit, got most of the gunk off, and then I was going to put it back on, and I'm like, well, I think that's a seal. So sure enough, I checked in the gasket set. This first gasket I had to open up, so I had the timing seal, whatever the hell you want to call it, but that thing was stuck in there really good. So I ended up having to pry out all the old rubber that was basically hard plastic now, and hammer it and chisel it and screwdriver it, and I finally pried it off, and I don't know how well it shows, but it's pretty nasty in there. I don't think it dinged up the edges at all when I was getting it out, so I think I'm gonna give that a good clean and scrub down. And I've got a brand new one over here, a little red guy that I pulled out of the gasket set, so I'll go ahead and put that in. I'm not going to paint this thing quite yet, but I'm going to clean it up a little bit more. I'm going to get it on there, and then I think when I do, I'm going to get a whole bunch of this kind of assembled here, and then we're going to give it a good paint. And I've got some stuff, some engine prepping, etching, anti-rust, whatever the heck, so I'm going to give it some of that, and hopefully it'll turn out alright. But I'm going to keep going, get this timing done, and then it's working on the pistons. Alright, well, timing's on, I got the cover on, and I actually put on the balancer, and then I ended up taking it off. I think I should probably paint around the timing cover before I put this thing on. After I put it on, it was just a little hard, and actually the inside of this thing and the outside still has blue original paint on it, so if I'm going to paint those kind of the same way they were, I should probably clean them up a bit and paint them when they're off, except for that edge with the timing. So I'll give this thing a good clean. I already did a little bit of wiping it down and whatnot, but it's still a little gunky. I don't really care about the parts that aren't going to show, but the stuff that is, I should probably give it a good clean. There's still some red on this thing too. I don't really know where the red came from, but paint on there from original maybe or something. I don't know. So I'll go from there. Either I'll start painting, or maybe I'll just put that off till a little bit later and work on the pistons. We'll see. Alright, so I went ahead and got all of the piston rings installed. So, should be to spec, should be correct. I'm kind of hoping I got all the orders right, but yeah, followed the guide, followed the instructions. Went ahead and used the feeler gauges and whatnot, put the pistons in the bores just to check the clearances. Didn't check every single ring, but they all seem pretty dang good. I did check every single cylinder just to make sure we're okay there. So I got a kind of cocky maybe now. But I think next step is to take all the ends off here, put the pistons in, try and guide them without scoring anything. I got some little rubber deals to help with that, and get all these pistons put in and all the bearings put on.